Good morning, folks. This is Mr. Dan coming to you from the Landscape Design Classroom, and today we're going to talk about understanding ag chemical regulations. So our main idea here, what laws and regulations must be followed when using agricultural chemicals, and how do they help to protect the environment? So the purpose of chemical regulations, protecting human life and protecting the environment. So Federal Hazardous Substances Act. This regulates household chemicals other than pesticides and fungicides. Requires labeling of any consumer product containing hazardous ingredients. Administered by the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission. Defining a hazardous ingredient. Any substance that contains one of these. Toxic, corrosive, flammable and combustible, and irritant or strong sensitizer, and must have the potential to cause substantial injury, personal injury, or illness. So, some product labels under FHSA, ingredients, directions for use, precautions, signal words, manufacturer's name and address, emergency procedures, and then the Toxic Substance Control Act, which covers most chemicals manufactured in the U.S. It's not covered, which would be food, drugs, cosmetics, or pesticides. Administered by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. And the purpose here is regulating new commercial chemicals and the distribution and use of existing chemicals. So EPA authority under TSCA, this is to collect data, ban manufacture or distribution of chemicals with unreasonable risks, limit use of certain chemicals, and require labels or restrictions. So having somebody checking over these labels and pesticides going out ensures that we are putting products out there that tell you everything about them, even if it's not as safe for you to use them as other chemicals. So always read your label and always make sure you're using the proper chemical. So Federal Insecticide, Fungicide, and Rodenticide Act regulates agricultural pesticides, registration criteria and procedures, protection for pesticide workers, certification program for restricted use pesticides, label and record keeping requirements, and authority to review and cancel registered pesticides if necessary. Also recommends proper storage and disposal. The Clean Water Act, certain provisions applying to a pesticide, limits discharge of toxic chemicals into the environment, protects water quality and wetlands. And then farm program legislation, pesticide regulations included since 1990, record keeping requirements, and just a little bit more on farm programs. Farms are looked at very closely these days just because of a lot of stuff we spray on our crops. So not everything going bad is bad that goes into our crops, but it is under more of a microscope. So just keep that in mind whenever you're picking different types of products. So how pesticides are approved: research screening, field testing, market analysis, experimental use permits, and then registration and label approval. So this actually goes through a long process that's really briefly explained here. These processes can take anywhere from 1 to 5 years to be done. So something that's being sprayed out typically has gone through a pretty rigorous process of being taken care of. So the bottom line here, the approval process for agricultural chemicals is costly and time consuming. Studies help determine needed safety precautions, and the objective is to provide effective pest control without undue risk to human health or harmful contamination of the environment. So that one was short and sweet today, but if you have any questions at all, give me a call down here in the Landscape Design Classroom. I appreciate your time, folks, and have a great day.